The curtain rose on the most unthinkable chapter in Korean entertainment history when Song Hye Kyo sat down for her first in-depth interview in years. It was not about a drama or a new project. It was about life, love, memory, and one revelation that sent shockwaves across the world. For years, fans had speculated, imagined, and constructed alternate realities. But nothing prepared them for what she would reveal about Joong Ki and what he did after her marriage to Lee Min-ho. The story begins years earlier, long before the cameras caught every smile and every pause between lines spoken on a script. Song Hye Kyo and Joong Ki had been the golden couple of Korean cinema and television. Their chemistry was the stuff of legend. When they parted ways, it was gracious and quiet, a mutual respect that most of the world admired. Life went on. Careers flourished. Fans moved forward. But there was a chapter that no one expected to open again. It was the summer before her marriage to Lee Min-ho. The engagement was one of the biggest entertainment news stories of the decade. The wedding was a private affair, a blend of tradition and modern elegance. The media documented every detail from the dress to the guests to the rare smiling photographs. The world saw her stepping into a new life. What they did not see was what happened behind the scenes, what rippled through the lives of those closest to her. Only weeks before the ceremony, a letter arrived addressed to Song Hye Kyo. It was written in familiar handwriting, one she had not seen in years. Joong Ki had sent it. No one knew of its existence until the day she chose to speak. In that letter, he confessed that seeing her embrace a new chapter of life moved him in ways he could never have articulated before. He wrote that the sight of her joy was like sunlight breaking through years of cloudy skies he did not know he carried inside him. It was not a plea for her to change her path. It was an honest homage to the woman who had once been the most important part of his world. Song Hye Kyo revealed that she read the letter alone in her room the night before her wedding. She described the trembling in her hands, the warmth that spread through her chest, and the tears that came not from sadness, but from deep gratitude. It was a moment that changed her perspective on life, love, and destiny. But Joong Ki's journey did not stop with that letter. The interview that changed everything disclosed what followed in the months after her wedding. In scenes that sound like they were scripted for a film, Song Hye Kyo described how Joong Ki stepped away from the limelight for a while, retreating from the relentless machinery of show business to find meaning outside the glare of cameras. In the autumn of that year, long after wedding bells had faded from headlines, Joong Ki embarked on a project that shocked everyone when it became known. He founded a small, private foundation dedicated to supporting young artists who lacked resources. It was named after a phrase he kept in his letter to her: the artist's sunrise. It was never publicized. No press releases, no fanfare, no social media announcement. Only a handful of people knew about it. Song Hye Kyo was one of them. In her interview, she explained how he would anonymously fund scholarships, help struggling actors pay for training, and personally mentor aspiring artists who showed raw talent but lacked opportunity. The world saw him on magazine covers promoting films, but behind the curtain, he was transforming lives quietly. One young actor who received his support later spoke in a small interview about how a mysterious benefactor helped him through his toughest months. He described checking his phone one morning to discover an email offering him a full scholarship and a message that said, simply, "You deserve to be seen." He later learned who the benefactor was, but asked that the story remain private so no one else would seek him for praise or attention. That was the nature of Joong Ki's work. He poured himself into giving others their chance to shine without expecting recognition. Song Hye Kyo explained how learning this changed her own view of him. She said she realized that love does not always end with a shared life. Sometimes it lives in the legacy you leave behind and the kindness you carry forward. In her own words, she described a moment after her wedding when she received a package from him. Inside was a journal filled with handwritten notes. Not romantic declarations. Instead, they were reflections on art, life, self-discovery, and resilience. Some were quotes from books he admired. Some were excerpts from scripts that had moved him. Others were personal thoughts about what it means to pursue a life that matters beyond fame. She said that reading those pages helped her find balance when the pressure of the public eye weighed heavily on her. It reminded her that her value was not only measured in ratings and red carpet appearances, but in the humanity she brought to every role she embodied. The world was stunned by her revelations. Fan communities lit up with reactions from admiration to disbelief to awe. Some said it was the most beautiful story of quiet love reimagined, while others praised Joong Ki for his humility and generosity. Whatever the reaction, one thing became clear. What he did after her marriage was not about rekindling a past romance, but about embracing a deeper purpose, one that continues to resonate in the lives of others. And there was one final twist that truly captured the imagination of fans around the world. In that same interview, Song Hye Kyo disclosed that years later, she and Joong Ki crossed paths again at a private gathering celebrating emerging artists. Lee Min-ho was there as well. The three of them stood in the same room, not as rival lovers in a melodrama, but as individuals who had walked distinct paths carved by growth, empathy, and mutual respect. She described the moment as surreal but peaceful. No awkwardness. No unspoken tension. Just a quiet acknowledgement of how life had shaped them all. They reminisced briefly, shared polite laughter, and then returned to the event with grace and warmth. Song Hye Kyo said it was a scene that reminded her that life's greatest stories are not always defined by dramatic confrontations, but by the serenity of understanding and the power of goodwill. In closing her interview, she spoke about how life often writes narratives we never expect. She said that while some chapters close, others open in ways that expand our hearts rather than break them. She credited Joong Ki's actions after her marriage to Lee Min-ho as one of the most beautiful examples of what humanity looks like when ego falls away and compassion remains. For the world, it was not just an entertainment headline. It was a reminder that kindness, authenticity, and genuine purpose can create ripples far more powerful than fame itself. After that evening at the private gathering, Song Hye Kyo found herself reflecting on the strange, invisible threads that tie people together. Life, she realized, had a way of looping back in mysterious patterns. What once seemed like endings often turned out to be transitions, moments in time that allowed her to grow, to understand, and to cherish the depth of human connection in ways she could never have imagined. In the weeks that followed, she noticed subtle changes in herself. Her work felt lighter, freer. Every role she embraced carried a newfound emotional resonance, a depth born not just of talent but of experience, of having loved deeply and seen that love respected in the quietest, most meaningful ways. In a way, Joong Ki's gestures, anonymous support for young artists, thoughtful letters, the journal of reflections, had become a guiding force, reminding her that life was more than appearances. It was about impact, intention, and the way actions, no matter how private, ripple outward. Meanwhile, Joong Ki was quietly transforming his world in other unexpected ways. Beyond mentoring and supporting artists, he began experimenting with creative projects that pushed boundaries, projects that questioned conventional storytelling. Independent films, small-scale theatrical productions, and intimate documentaries became his playground. Colleagues noticed that the quiet humility he carried was paired with a relentless drive to nurture talent and create work that mattered. Those who worked with him described a man who had not lost the charm and charisma that had once captured the public's heart, but whose priorities had shifted. He now valued depth over fame, substance over spectacle. For Song Hye Kyo, learning of his silent initiatives became a source of inspiration. She began thinking about her own platform, the influence she wielded through her work. It motivated her to launch initiatives supporting mental health and artistic education, quietly partnering with organizations that shared her vision. She wanted to mirror the grace she had seen in Joong Ki's gestures, to create impact without seeking applause. The parallel journeys they were on, distinct yet intertwined, felt like a living testament to the quiet power of integrity and generosity. The next unexpected encounter occurred during a charitable event for the arts. Song Hye Kyo and Joong Ki were invited separately, each unaware the other would be there. When their eyes met across the crowded room, the silence that followed was not awkward but comforting. They shared a brief conversation, light, respectful, and infused with an understanding that years of shared history had created. There were no recriminations, no regrets. Only acknowledgement. A recognition that while life had diverged in unexpected ways, the mutual respect and care they held for each other remained. It was in that moment that Song Hye Kyo realized something profound. Some relationships are not defined by proximity, by ownership, or by conventional labels. They are defined by the enduring imprint of the heart, by the ways in which people shape each other's lives quietly, often unseen. She understood now that Joong Ki's actions after her marriage to Lee Min-ho were a powerful reminder that love, in its truest form, can exist beyond romantic bounds. It can manifest as support, guidance, and unwavering respect. And so, both of them continued their lives with renewed clarity. Song Hye Kyo embraced each day with the awareness that her journey was not hers alone but woven into a tapestry of countless human connections. Joong Ki carried on his work, touching lives in ways the public would never know, quietly proving that true significance is measured not by headlines, but by the impact one leaves on the world around them. In the end, their story was no longer just a tale of celebrity romance. It had evolved into a narrative of human dignity, compassion, and the quiet power of meaningful actions that echo far beyond the spotlight.